Yo, what's going on guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the best brawler compositions, strategies and whatever else for the championship challenge coming out in 2 days time. So just before we jump into today's video, make sure you're using a creator code in the shop. It'll be greatly appreciated. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. All right guys, so jumping into the first set, which is going to be bounty shooting stars. So as you can see, by the compositions, I don't think too much has really changed. Even after the balance changes, the shooting star meta has basically kept the same. I think you can go one of 3 compositions. So kind of up to you. Set 1 is nice and easy. Shouldn't be the hardest at all. So you can either switch out the tick for a buzz or a Brock in the middle. I think just because it's set number 1, I think going for the safer option with tick is probably a little bit better. But if you want to play buzz because you want to have fun and you're a good buzz, and if you've got him unlocked with the Brawl Pass, I think a few people, well, I think most people should actually get close to having him unlocked by now. But basically, Buzz is just really good against the Tick and the Piper. You can just keep grappling onto him and get a really good, consistent damage against those type of brawlers. Tick's just good overall, but also just really hard countered by a lot of aggro brawlers. But I think in set number 1, I don't think you're really going to be facing the best players as always. They're probably going to be picking some really tanky combinations as well. So Nani, not really going to be a brawler that you can take out the composition at all, especially with the return to sender gadget. You can essentially just cheat death against those long range brawlers like the Piper's lanes, like the Nani lanes. That return to sender gadget is just so strong, especially with Nani's head as well. You can basically one-shot all of these brawlers in this composition, except for like a tick with gadget. You can't really one-shot tick. You got to also remember as well with that Nani Peep, it doesn't do as much damage as before, so try and cycle it that little bit longer so you can get the full damage onto you. But I think Shooting Star is a really simple map. Everyone should know how to play this one out, so just basically consistently hit your shots and you should be pretty good. So that's going to be Shooting Star the first set. Let's hop into set number 2. Alright guys, so heading into set number 2, we have Hard Rock Mines. So again, a fairly comfortable map that you should be used to by now. So the best mids by far in this map, I think it's going to be Belle. But if you're not confident using Belle, I know a few people aren't too confident using her in the middle. You can either use a Jean, an 8-bit, or a Piper. I think the 8-bit Stu combination is a really underrated combination. You can put that Stu turret in the back. 8-bit's going to get sped up, and eventually he's going to get his super as well, and he's going to be even faster. So yeah, that combination is going to be really strong and definitely a bit easier to use than the Belle. But yeah, they're going to be the best mids that you can use. So down the lanes, I think Rico, basically, you've got to use him every single time near enough. Rico is absolutely insane on this map, and especially with his new gadget, a lot of the times if you're in either left or right side, like the far right or left, you can easily ricochet your shots, and when you pop the gadget, you can heal up so much, and it just allows you to counter basically so many different brawlers in this game. Rico was already good before this, but now, even against his hard counters, say for example, really bad matchup for Rico in the past used to be a Sprout, but when you pop that gadget, it's so hard to actually kill. Also down the lanes as well, you've got the likes of the aggro brawlers. So you've got the likes of Rosa, you've got the likes of Buzz, who can just do insane pressure, especially when they get inside of the grass. A lot of times enemies just have to respond to it and push you out, so it can be really good alternative picks on this map as well. You've also got the likes of Ruffs if you want to go a little bit defensive, can be a good counter to the likes of Stu. Does struggle a little bit against Rico, but obviously if you give like a Belle or any of your mids, or literally anyone, a power up with well, from Ruffs, you're going to be having a good time. But yeah, I think Hard Rock Mine shouldn't be too bad out of the choices I give you. Alright guys, so now going on to set number 3, we have Hot Zone Parallel Plays. So as you can see by the combination, I think we ran this a little bit differently to how it's supposed to be played on this replay. So bear in mind how you're supposed to play it. You put a Stu gadget in that exact position. That's a really solid position to put it, because basically you're going to help your defensive lane brawler out, you're going to help your mid and even your right brawler going through the bushes. So I think Stu's going to be really good down the right hand side, especially if you're using the gas steal style power. You can get a lot of pressure with it and basically counter so many different brawlers inside of a game. Stu is insane in the game. I've been saying this for a long time, well, since the balance changes. I honestly think he's probably in an even better position than he was before the nerf, which is kind of crazy to think, but people just play Stu a little bit differently now, and I think it perfectly suits him. So yeah, Stu, I think he's going to be the #1 brawler on this map. Then I think there's a few more picks that you can opt for if you're not too comfortable with. So I think Belle, again, is just so strong, because she can free shot so many of these different brawlers and just get so much pressure once you line up a few shots. Jean's going to be really good defensive lane, because you can scout the bushes, and also once you get when you get the pull, you can push up and destroy a lot of different brawlers with that pull. So that's going to be really good as well. Good alternative picks as well. You can use a Jessie. Jessie's good, either defensive, middle, or down the right. Kind of up to you how you want to play with her. But she's really good, especially when you get close to your turret. The way you want to be playing that is, say for like one shot of turret, you want to start to go aggro and throw your turret on top of the enemies, slow them, and you're going to get easy pressure. You don't even have to throw the turret literally directly on top of them. As long as your slow is in range of them, it's going to be pretty decent. Amber is a solid option here as well. She's really good offensively or down the middle, because you can pop the gadget and just destroy literally anyone, which is pretty cool as well. But other than that, I don't think there's really many other options that you can go on this map. Again, it's set number 3. Shouldn't be too hard, but I think these brawlers, you should have an easy time winning. So that's going to be set number 3. Let's hop to set number 4. Alright guys, so hopping into set number 4, we have Heist Kaboom Canyon. So I feel like you can go one of 2 combinations inside of this map. In terms of competitive, people are really liking this choice right here. So we've got a Piper, we've got a Belle, and we've got the Bee. So basically, it's going to be pretty hard to get damage, which is the only worry here. You've got to be really consistent with your control. But I think just against like the Baron's Colettes that you normally face quite a lot of the times, the Belle and the Bee are just going to absolutely destroy a Baron Colette. So if you're pretty confident using long-range brawlers, I think this is a really good combination to use, because you've got a lot of control with these brawlers. You've got Piper with a gadget, you've got Bee with a slow and a 3k. Once you push up with that, and Belle's just really solid on this map. I think Belle is the one brawler I would mainly try not switch away from. She's just so strong, especially on these long-range maps. So if you're not going to use this combination as well, with the likes of Baron Colette, go down the left-hand side, and then Crow down the right-hand side. Crow is absolutely insane on this map, because even if you're against like snipers who tend to counter him, you've got his fast movement speed, and as long as you get yourself inside of a bush and then coordinate your slows with your teammates, you're going to be able to take out so many different brawlers inside of this game. So Crow is a brawler you can never really go wrong with on this map. Even if you're facing your hardest counters, you can still have really good pressure inside of a bush. So Kaboom Canyon, I always stress to try and keep mid control as much as possible. So I would rather prioritize getting that mid control rather than getting damage, because the enemies don't know where you are inside of that mid. If you're just like being annoying, you're not like showing your position a lot, you can stay alive for such a long time, allow your teammates to push back up as well. So yeah, try and keep that middle for as long as possible. So other alternative picks, can't really think of too many. I think kind of covered it. I really think there's like 6 brawlers you can really go on this map if you want to be winning. Nanny's also a good alternative pick, kind of hard to use on this map, but if you use Nanny with the TP, that can be a good option as well, because sometimes it's really hard to break out of a spawn trap. But if you have a Nanny peep, you can TP into the left corner and you kind of force the enemy to try and deal with you. But yeah, I wouldn't really switch away from these brawlers that I've said. I think there's about 6 or 7 brawlers you can really go, and you think you're going to be having a good time with Kaboom Canyon. So that's going to be set number 4 right there. Let's hop into set number 5. Alright guys, so hopping into set number 5, we have Super Stadium. So this one could be quite a messy one, especially with Primo in play. So you got to be kind of careful. You got to judge it off what brawlers you kind of expecting to face off against. So Barley can be really good, but the problem with a Barley is if you're facing like a Primo, it's going to be a big struggle. So I think B is basically the mid, but you can't really switch out for anyone. I think the only mid you can switch out for is maybe like a Jean or a Poco. Like maybe you go Poco double tank, that could be pretty okay. But like a B is just so good. B will basically win every single matchup inside of a middle, because you can counter the Jean with your honeypots, so Jean can't ever pull you. You can also tank like a 3k shot with that honeypot as well, which is pretty underrated. So B is going to be the best mid for sure. So going on to lanes now. Again, it kind of just depends on what you're facing up against. I think Ems is basically a brawler which is going to be good in every single matchup. Like Ems can basically deal with everything because she's got high HP. She can deal with tanks really well. She can deal with like a Barley lane okay because of that high HP, pushing them back. So Ems is a brawler I probably won't really switch out. You've got other options down the lane. Again, it's kind of up to you. So if you want to use Poco double tank, I think I have a combination of like a Bull, Primo, Poco could be really strong. It's kind of whether you play tanks pretty well, but obviously like Primo is so good in this meta. So even if the enemy team has like 3 tank counters, if you play Primo pretty decently, you're gonna have a good time. So that could be a really option to use. Other good lanes as well, you've got the likes of Anita and Tara. Tara can just be really solid overall, especially if you're facing tanks, and those pets can push back a lot of different lanes and mids inside of the game. You've got the likes of trying to think what else, because there's not really too much that you can go on this map. Stu can be pretty decent as well, just mainly because he's good at dealing with tanks like Primo as well, because he's got his little dash. He can just keep dashing away, but also his gadget you're able just to put in the back pocket and allow your mid to maneuver around the map a lot easier. We've got lots of Surge. Surge can be good as well, good against tanks, good against control brawlers as well, especially if you don't waste your TPs. You can get a lot of value. Sandy can also be an underrated pick on this map as well. So these are all the best picks for Super Stadium. I would say for sure get like a B and M's in your composition, but it's kind of up to you whether what other lane you want to go. Barley is just really good if they don't have a tank, but then again, it is probably really common for you to face off against an El Primo. So those are going to be the best combinations to use in a Super Stadium. All right, guys, it's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed this one. They're going to be the best combinations to use. I feel like if you just play these comps correctly, there should be no chance that you should be losing. These are such a solid combinations. Not really too much that can counter these. So good luck with the 15-win challenge this week. And I will be trying to carry a few people this weekend on stream as well. So make sure you're subscribed and with notifications on to not miss out on my streams. I stream normally around midday every single day, so don't miss out on that this weekend. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.